I kind of lost myself for 18 months, physically and mentally, emotionally. I was drained.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jodi Richardson, and this is Well, Hello Anxiety. In a world that often moves too fast, we're here to pause, breathe, and understand anxiety together. Each episode will explore practical strategies, share honest conversations, and uncover the science behind anxiety and wellbeing, all while creating a space where it's okay to not be okay. Let's continue this journey together. Connor, thank you for sticking around to talk a little bit longer. It's just the time we had just wouldn't do it justice, the wonderful work that you're doing, and I really appreciate everything that you shared in last week's episode. With the fundraiser that you did, can you just tell us a little bit about kind of from the idea where that seed was planted, for listeners who haven't heard part one yet, you'll want to share a little bit more information, to kind of when you got underway and how on earth you managed to accomplish something that just seems impossible for one person. No doubt you had a team around you. We'd just love to hear a bit more about this incredible fundraiser that you undertook.
Yeah, so the 50 kilometres a day, running 50 kilometres a day for 50 days was an idea that I'd had because I'd wanted to, in my mind, come full circle. And it was a way of going, I've been through this really challenging few years, and I am now feeling happier. I'm feeling more content. I'm running regularly. How can I continue my mission in providing mental health awareness and raising money for that? And I decided on running 50 kilometers a day for 50 days, which was incredibly silly. And it was one of those things that I thought, well, I guess those numbers sound good when they're together. And I remember speaking to people and saying, do you think I could run a marathon a day for a month? And then that marathon a day became, do you reckon I could do it for like 40 days? And then I said 50 days, and I was like, oh, well, if I'm doing a marathon, I might as well do 50 Ks because it sounds better. So that was where the decision came from. I'd interviewed Speak and Share through the Zoo podcast, and they were local on the peninsula, and I wanted to support a local charity and what they were doing, which I thought was really important work in getting young people talking about mental health and making mental health kind of cool in the sense of the products that they use and how they talk about it, how they create content for that. It was really great to see that mental health was now becoming such a focal point, and you walk down the peninsula and everyone's got a Speak and Share hoodie, and it's kind of a really nice thing. So I spoke to Ben from Speak and Share about doing it, and once I committed, I was pretty much all focus on doing that challenge. I was working with a life coach at the time he's also a GP and a counsellor, and I was working with him, and he was asking me, why do you want to do this? And at one part of that was for the full circle, but also was a bit of a challenge of ego in a sense. I didn't want to get too caught up in it, and I wanted to see if I could put myself in a really challenging situation by choice. How did I manage that? And how did I come through the other side? And how was I going to deal with the day-to-day of those things happening? So there was the bigger goal of raising the money and raising the awareness, but the personal goal of how am I going to handle doing this challenge?
Running 50 kilometres once is something most people will never do. And you were able to accomplish this. You accomplished this. You achieved 50 kilometres a day for 50 days. What was the aftermath like? How did you find it within yourself to get up every day and do it again? And am I right in assuming that you didn't have a day off?
Yeah, I did not have a single day off. I worked as well during that time. So I would run preferably in the morning and then go to work come home, sleep, do that again. Ideally, I wanted to do it all in the morning, but injuries came up. I ruptured the intramuscular tendon of my quad on, I think it was like day 16 or 18. And I was told that I need to stop and you can't do it. But I'd had a rule beforehand, which was if it's not bone, we keep going. And the intramuscular tendon is not a bone, so I kept going. Yeah, so it's interesting. How did I get up every day? And it's something that I actually wanted to challenge before the challenge, was seeing how I would go in some of those scenarios. And when I look back at it, I think I maybe should have stopped. In that moment, I think I've kind of fell back on my old habits of, you will be ashamed of yourself if you fail. And it's that reflection that I think about. I think I kind of lost myself to the challenge. I lost my identity to, I need to do this to prove that I'm worthy in some way, which can be an incredible motivator, but comes at a pretty big cost. So when I organized the challenge, one of the things I wanted to do was, because it was for this reason of talking about mental health, I wanted to do it with a lot of people and have people around. But as the challenge went on and I was getting more and more in my own head, it was interesting the similarities in which the less and less I wanted other people to be around. And it was only until I ruptured my quad tendon that I put a post out on social media and said, I'm really struggling and I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep going. I'm going to be at Mornington Athletics Track at this time. Would love some support. And then 50 or 60 people turned up and ran with me until midnight. And yeah, people running in barefoot. My sister, who's never run in her life, ran a half marathon, I think. The amount of messages I got the next day that were like, I'm so sore after last night and it's given me a new perspective on what you're doing. But yeah, that was a nice moment within the challenge in which I started to lean on people, and I had a great team. Like my mate Denks, who was a part of 9 for 9 when we started, and he was cooking meals. A friend Brendan, who would let me use his house for rest stops in Seaford, and my mum, I think I put her through a pretty sad 50 days, because what people were seeing on social media was this guy who was running 50 kilometres, but she was watching me not be able to get up the stairs at home because I'd moved back home to do it. And she was watching me not be able to get up and down stairs, get up off a couch. She was helping me move. So she was seeing all the kind of behind the scenes in real time and thinking, she said to me afterwards, I was just praying every day that this was going to be over and done very soon.
I can just, as a mother, and I can only imagine, but she also knew that this was a decision about continuing, or otherwise that could only come from you. Yes. Oh, Connor, honestly, thank you for being so open about that. It's overwhelmingly difficult, isn't it, when you've shared very, very publicly and openly that this is something that you are going to do. I can understand where you were at, and I think it's absolutely incredible that you were able to accomplish that and raise the money and the awareness and open the conversations and just bring so many more people on board. And that is absolutely a once in a lifetime. I know that's behind you now. But tell us about the Running Therapist and the Mind Over Miles Club, because the work that you're doing now is just exactly what people need when it comes to support with their mental health. So tell our listeners what you're up to.
Yeah, well, after the 50 days, I think I spoke to you about this, but I kind of lost myself for 18 months, physically and mentally, emotionally. I was drained. And I kind of started thinking about what we're seeing on social media around, it feels like every second person's running a marathon or running crazy distances, doing crazy challenges. And I know that I'm very well aware that I've been a part of that. But I was thinking about when I got to the finish line of that 50 days, and once the relief of completing it came upon me, just the emptiness I felt, and thinking, I don't think this is what it's supposed to be about. So that's where my friend Dylan and I, started Mind Over Miles, which is a run club that isn't really a run club. It's movement-based, so walking, running, a mix of both. And it's just a place where the distance, the speed doesn't matter. It's about the high fives, the support of each other, the conversations, and the connection that we can build on a Sunday morning. So within that, we do 30 to 40 minutes of movement. And then afterwards, and this is what most people come for, is the coffee. Laneway and Dramana. Yeah, so we go for a coffee, and I'll run, either Dill or I will run kind of a mental health themed session. So like last week, we spoke about anxiety, and we spoke about where people catch their signs or what symptoms they show, and each person shared their own experience of that. And it was great because there's so many different ways that anxiety, can manifest, and hearing other people talk about it can normalize your own experience, and you can hear strategies that other people are using, and knowing that there's 30 people in this room all talking about it, but they're all here and they're all doing it, and they're all still willing to talk and willing to engage. And even though talking up in front of a group might, elicit that response. This week we spoke about, a win for the week and a sticking point for the week, something you've been struggling with that's you can't quite work through. And we all had a bit of a chat on things that we're dealing with. And it's just a way that we can connect. So the miles definitely come secondary to the mindful side, which is why we call it Mind Over Miles.
Oh, it is. I know Laneway. I love that we're both from, the same area, because years ago I felt really moved to bring beautiful people in my life together just to say thank you for all their support with me and my mental health. And I organised a high tea at Laneway. And it's just got such a cool vibe to it, and obviously great coffee and just lots of space. You obviously got the time, the movement, which we know is so healing, time in nature. It's obviously beachside, the conversations and the sharing that happens as a group, but also the connections between the people and the conversations whilst people are exercising. It's very, very generous, and it's an extraordinary gift to the community. It's in Rosebud for anyone listening who would like to get involved. But you are also now known as the running therapist. And so you've extended this love of running and movement and the power of, movement and nature into your counselling services as well, haven't you?
Yeah. So this was something I was seeing with the Run Club, was just how beneficial it was. And then from my own experience of knowing the side-by-side talking, using the endorphins, my own experience with therapy, and obviously now I'm a lot of years into therapy, so I'm very used to the walking into a therapy room and talking about my feelings. But at the start, I found that very challenging. And I think what I'm trying to do with the running therapist is, there's the run coaching side, but the run coaching is, if PBs come from it, fantastic, but it's just not the focus. It's more like, why do you run, and who are you running for, and who are you as a runner? And I think sometimes we can forget that. And there's been plenty of times I've gotten to the end of a race and gone, well, all those feelings I expected to feel right now, I feel none of them, and I feel a little bit empty. Whereas last year I ran a couple of marathons, and I went into those marathons thinking, I'm going to show up as myself, and I'm going to be kind, I'm going to have fun, and whatever comes from it, comes from it. And I ran my 2 best ever races, and I high-fived a lot of people on the way. The videos of me, I've just got the biggest smile on my face. And yes, it was hard, but when I achieved it, at the end, it just felt so so good to achieve it as myself that it was something that I felt like I hadn't done for a long time. So that's where I'm kind of moving into the running therapist counselling side of things, is to do, 80 to 90 minute sessions where the first 20 to 30 minutes are out in nature, whether it's walking, whether it's running, where we can get those endorphins happening, where we can talk side by side, we can build connection and rapport and build that mutual respect for each other before we go and talk into some of those deeper things that are going on. Because sometimes, and I think psychologists are amazing, counselors are amazing, but breaking down those barriers can be really hard, and we're so time constrained and within those sessions. So to be able to move your body and express your feelings, I just thought that was something I would have loved to have had. So now I kind of want to provide that service for others.
I really encourage you to have a look at Connor's website, and obviously people can start to get comfortable with you. There's a real trust factor when it comes to a connection with somebody that you are willing to open up with, and it's not always the first person that you meet. It was my third attempt at finding someone to talk to that I hit the jackpot. And so, yeah, you've got this beautiful kind of soft place to land with the Mind Over Miles, where people can come and start connection and just experience a little bit of that for themselves, or a lot of that, a weekly dose. And then you've got obviously, more that you can do to support people, especially if running is a part of their life, or if they want running to be part of their life. And sometimes even just getting started with something like that can be tricky if you're feeling like you're really stuck. Connor, oh gosh, I could talk to you all day, but we're out of time. First of all, thank you for your time. Thank you for all that you are doing for the community that you've done in terms of the fundraising that you've done and the initiatives that you have co-founded. How can people learn more about you and your wonderful work?
You can find my personal Instagram, where you'll just see lots of running stuff and maybe the odd photo of my cat and my partner, and that's just Connor Scott 10. For the running therapist, I've just started that out. So the website is therunningtherapist.com, or on Instagram it is @therunningtherapist with 2 little underscores.
Perfect. Excellent. And any one of those will take you to have a look at Connor's work and see how you can work together as well. So Connor, what's on the agenda for the rest of the day for you?
Well, I'm going to have my tea, and then I'm going to do a little bit of work, go to the gym, and I've got my second run for the day to do later. So that is my day.
Fantastic. Well, look, thank you for spending some of your time with us, and for, as I said, for all that you do, and really appreciate it. So thanks again.
Thank you so much, Jodi. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for sharing this time with me on Well, Hello Anxiety. Remember, understanding anxiety is the first step to managing it. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. Take things one moment at a time. Focus on what you can control, and know that you are not alone on this journey. If you found value in today's episode, please share it with someone who might need to hear it too. I'm Dr. Jodi Richardson, and I'll meet you right back here next week.